Everyone, so I found this question on Facebook. So basically what this user, Fabian, so is actually asking like whether he can have a review platform or field where users can contribute to different roles in order to rank or derank the role. So here he has a mortgage brokerage. So here he has a mortgage brokerage. So where he uses a lot of different lenders. So what he wants is that he wants to have a database where he can rank the highest lenders. So and this displayed on top. So he's not sure how he can go about it, like creating a review system where after every funding, you can kind of like input the reviews and give it ratings on just how reliable the lender is, or just give like a maybe 1 to 5 star review. So here I'm going to show you a solution how you can do this, and then just give you the template as well, like you can download in the link description below. Alright, so here we have the lender review system, which I created. So I'm going to show you how this system works, and then just show step-by-step guide on how you can create it. So here we have lender at the top. So this is where we have like a ranking system. So you can see company A, C, B, and then you can see company A has the highest ranking with 19 points, and then company C is 12, and then 0 for B. So if you want to add a new company, you can just create like a company D, and then maybe you can just give it an icon just to make it align with the rest. So that's it. And the next we have the fundings. So I assume by normally like for so I assume for the loan officer, so every time they use it, right, they probably wouldn't use to go to here that often, but then they will want to have the fundings here. So this is where they include their new jobs, right, and then the fundings. So for example, here we have different jobs here. So job 1 to 10, and then each of them have different lenders, like company C. So these two, and then there's just status, so kind of see what's the status of the funding. Is it done? And then here is where they can give rating. So here we have like rating 1, so 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is kind of how I'm currently run the system. So of course you can have different metrics, but in this case, for example, for company A, maybe just select 1, right? You can see now it's 19. If I just select 1, you can see automatically just becomes 16. And then you can kind of put review as well. So how this review works is that it's actually when I go to company A, right? Just click inside, you can actually see the jobs that they completed, and then just the reviews for each of the individual jobs. So you can kind of give a better context of like, you know, what each job means. And then we can even have like the rating. So maybe just show the rating as well. Maybe the number is better. Let me just show this. Yeah, you can even have the numbers here, just kind of see like, you know, how much rating is being given, and then like what's the reviews for it. So here's like 1 is reliable. So what does it mean? Because it's so low, right? But yeah, so just to give you more context. So in terms of for the officer, how they're going to use it, right? So basically for them, they just can select 1, then job 11, and then can select maybe company D, and then select I don't know, depends on the progress. So here we have the rating, so we can just move it here. Once you select the rating, right, you can just select 1 to 5, and then just 3, and then just say good, and that's it. And automatically you can see company D is being ranked now, so it's actually went up 1 stage because it's higher than B, so it's 3 points. So this is kind of how you can have the system here. And I hope that's helpful. So if you only want a template here, I will share in the link below, so you can just download it. Next step, you want to learn how to create the system. So I'm going to go step by step just to guide you on how you can create it. So essentially what you're seeing here, so we have 2 databases. So one is called a lender database, and then one is for funding, right? So what we need to do is just first of all create 2 systems. So for the lender database, just kind of see the table to see what we have here. So we have the name, we have the ranking, and then we have the jobs. So what each of this is, right? So I'm going to show you later, but for now, maybe let me just go down here, just create database here. So database, so you can create by doing /database and then select inline. And then here we can just type in lender DB. Okay, so we have the name now. So here we want to replicate it. We have a ranking and then jobs, but for now I wouldn't do that because we still need another steps. And next we can have the funding database, right? So I'm going to create another one. So just select database, funding database. All right, so simple. And then next we can kind of go through the funding database. So we have the name, with the lender, the status, rating, and review. So I'm going to kind of create the status, rating, and review first because they are the most straightforward one. So for status, so let me just delete the tags here. So status, so you can just click plus and then type status and then click. So you have like a not started, like just default provided by Notion. And then you have, what do I have again? Rating. So for rating, I use status as well. So I'm going to show you why. So status, so I'll just change it to rating. And then here, I'll just change the text. So please rate the lender. So this is when I usually like to use this status properties compared to if you're more familiar with Notion, like there's something called select property. So it's kind of like the same, it's like a drop down, but the difference is that if you select the status property, right, you can allow you to have the ability to select a default status. So it means that every time I create a new one, right, automatically just select this one. So I can just remind the users to like, oh, please rate, don't forget to rate. So this is where you have it. And next thing is just select this and edit property. And then now we can add on like the numbers. So 1, and then maybe 2. I can just move it here. I want maybe 3. I want again 4 and then 5. Okay, so this is what I want. And maybe I prefer just to have it move around the bottom, so you can have it see here. And maybe just change the blue color just for aesthetic purposes. Now we can select the rating, so just change it. Alright, so next we want the review column here. So the review property. So I'm going to select add property and then select text. So I can just write this review. Okay, so we have the most basic things ready now. So next thing is what we want is, let me show you. So we want to have the lender, right? So how can you actually select the lender here? So this is actually not a select property. This is not a status property. So you haven't used something called relation before. So I'm going to show you. So basically relation is when you try to make two databases talk to each other. So in this case, you want to get the data from the lender database and then into the funding database, right? So here I'm going to select lender database and then show on lender database and then limit. So for this case, I assume that one funding only has one lender. So that's why I just put 1 and add relation. So here you show like lender DB. Maybe I just change the name here just to make it look better. And then select maybe this icon. I prefer this one. Okay, so we have here. So maybe now I can just kind of pop it in like lender A, lender B, lender C. And then here I can kind of select now. So you can see like it kind of acts on like a drop down list, but the list is actually selecting from another database. And then if you remember earlier, so we select only one database, right? So what this means is that if I select B, you can see automatically it just change. So that's how it works. And then for the next one is, let me just find this funding. Let me just A, B, C, so we have a better idea of what it looks like. Okay, so now that we have, maybe just let me pop in a little bit more of the review. Just make sure that everything is populated so we can kind of see the differences. Okay, so 3 is fine. And then funding D. And then maybe select lender B. Alright. Okay, so just pop it in the view. Bad. Terrible. Okay. Hopefully nobody have a terrible lender. Okay, so now that we have this here, so next just delete this, just make sure we have everything. So next what we need, so we have exactly the same thing that we have in this funding table here. So see the same thing. So what we're missing now is the ranking and then the jobs. So how can we do this, right? So just now what we did is we get the data information from the lender database into the funding database. So now we want to do the reverse. So since we're connected to each other, right? So we can kind of tell Notion, so in the lender database, we kind of want to see the ratings, right? We kind of see who has the highest score. So how can we do that, right? So in this case, we want to get this rating here and then get it back to the lender database. So here is when you go to the lender database and then select roll up. So roll up is normally like the partner, like it's either a relation. So first you always create a relation, then you use a roll up, which means you get information from another database to your own database. So select roll up, and then in the property you select funding database because this is what we are connected. And then here you can see properties. So you want to select rating, right? So we select rating here. So, but then when you select rating, let me see, show original. So what do you get? So this is the rating, right? So this is roll up. We just rename it as rating. Just put a star. And then you probably have one question now. You notice, well, why is it like just 422? How can I make it sum it together, right? I want to see the total. Total is not showing up, and like don't really see any options here. So one thing about Notion is just that for select or status property, they will always be in a text format. So if you have used Excel before or just Google Sheets, you know like there's like a format you can kind of change like text, numbers. So for Excel, they are quite lenient. So even if it's like a text cell, right, you can like 1 plus 1, it would still plus. But in Notion, they are more strict. So if this is a text, it will just be a text. That's why like Notion doesn't really know like, oh, this is a number. So this is as a text. So next what we need to do is actually, we need to turn this into a number. So what we can do is, we have to use something called formula. So I'm not sure if you used it before, but we'll go back to the funding database. So just select plus, and then just type formula. So here your formula. So next thing you need to do is just click it, and then change this to, I'll just name this to rating number. So basically what this does is very simple. And before that, I'll just select an icon. Normally I like to use like this stop icon for my client's system, just to let people know like, oh, please do not delete this. So this is something important, even though you might not know what it's for. And then next is I'm going to use this formula called, so they call functions. It's called toNumber. So you can see toNumber. So basically what toNumber does is that it changes something like it takes a value from another property. So in this case, you want to take it from rating, right? You want to change it into a number format. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to select rating. Just click on it, and then just close the parenthesis. So basically toNumber, open and close it, and then you select prop rating, and then you get the number format. So in this case, 2432 is actually a number now. So next you can see what we can do is go back to the roll up system here in the rating, in the Lender database, select configure roll up, and then select rating. So instead of rating now, we want to select rating number. And then you can see there's actually a number now, but it's still not together. So the last thing we need to do is go to this calculate, show original, and then sum. And there you have it. So you can see like it's summing the ratings now. So this is what we have now. So the next step we want, let me just check what we have previously. So we have the jobs here. So I think this is basically the same thing. So we have the jobs. Let me just put it here, and then maybe just put some logo here just to make it better. So yes, basically we have what we have originally. So something is still kind of missing. So let's see here. So we have to review the rating status. So this one I don't really want to see it. So what you can do is just kind of hide it. And the next step is we want this to be in a list, so it just looks better. I can just create another one. Just create a new view. So view basically is when you click a plus, right? It doesn't create a new database for you. It just create like a new view for you. Like, so a different perspective on looking at things. It's still the same thing, which is one of the best thing about Notion. So next, just like list, and then I just kind of hide it. Normally I prefer just not to have too many stuff on, and then just move it to the left side. And then this here, you can go to this three dot here, select properties, and then select rating. And you can see this is where the ratings comes up. And then last thing we can do sort. So because we want it to be like in a sequence, right? So the highest score should be the highest. So we go to descending and then save it. So there you can see it. So lender B is the highest 8, and then lender C is 3, and then lender A is 0. So one last thing. So for the review, so I always like to have the review function. So in this case for jobs, I like to use this function in Notion when you change it to as page section. So what this does is that you show your jobs, everything under below here. And then next thing I like the feature is just that you can actually select what you want to show. So here I want to kind of see the rating number, right? So I select the rating number, and then select and then select review. So this is where you can see the original functions that I showed you earlier. You can have the good, you can okay, and the terrible. So that's where you have it. So you can go to C, you can see the review as well. So yeah, there you have it. That's how you can create a review system for lenders. So let me know how you like it. So if you want you have any questions, want to create another database, so just let me know. So thank you.